Okay, so let me run through Guild of Guardians real quick for you guys so you kind of have an idea and you're not going into this kind of completely blind. The future of NFTs. So this is their site right here. Over 120,000 players are pre-registered, which I don't actually know how to pre-register. I try to look on that. Maybe they had it a while ago. Buy limited edition heroes and get free bonus Guild of Guardians tokens. So I'm assuming the tokens are going to be something that we're able to, exchange for other cryptos. And then these are just some kind of like info tidbits. Players spend 100 billion each year on in-game items which they don't truly own. This is wrong. Players deserve to be able to own and trade their assets for real money. This is why we are building a free-to-play mobile RPG where players can turn their passion into NFTs. Hello, Derek. Check 1 2. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, good to meet you.
So, Derek, I've been reading about this Guild of Guardians game. I love the name because I played like Guild Wars 2, and all that kind of stuff. We're looking at the mobile realm with everything. Can you give us a little bit of a lowdown on what Guild of Guardians is?
So Guild of Guardians is a mobile RPG. So it's a game where you have a team of heroes and you're battling through dungeons, collecting loot, leveling up your characters, getting equipment, and so on.
We also saw that you guys were also pairing with Immutable. So in terms of kind of creating these NFTs and whatnot, we also saw the Guild of Guardians token. So is that going to be kind of the currency that we're able to use as NFTs to go elsewhere?
Yeah, so there's two separate parts there. I guess the first is around the token. So the plan is that the in-game currency of Guild of Guardians will also be a tradable token, which allows us to do these really cool things within the game and rewarding players, but also really cool things outside of the game. The second part is around Immutable. So the way it works is that Guild of Guardians is fully owned and published by Immutable, which I also work for. So we've built God's Own Chain and Immutable X, and then the game is being developed by our development partners, Stepico Games, who are a mobile game studio.
And you guys are also kind of positioning yourself as kind of like the front runners. You guys are saying, hey, we think that we're going to be the next big thing. We're wanting to really bring NFTs and the gaming feature to life on mobile. Is there a reason why you guys chose mobile, or is it just mainly because there's a lot of untapped potential there financially?
So mobile by itself is a very big category. It's twice as big as PC, console, growing very quickly. Mobile RPGs itself is very popular. I think I noticed you guys chatting before about who actually plays. But it is a very popular genre across many different countries.
I love that. And regarding the people that are playing it, do you guys have like a specific demographic that you're trying to target with the game?
So the primary demographics is North America and Europe.
Okay,
is what I'll say. But the game will be available to everyone.
So we know that the founder sale is coming up, and one thing that I've noticed when we were looking at it was that the early guild sales, where it was a 20-person guild, and then 1% of it was, I think, around like $300 or so, and then it kind of jumped up quite heavily to about like $4,000. What was the reasoning for such kind of like a heavy price jump between the first two initial levels?
There's a few reasons here. So the first is around scarcity. So obviously, as the guilds get up in terms of tiering, that they become more scarce. So naturally, we wanted to make less people be able to get them. The second interesting part of this is like really the price of these guilds is going to be what people are willing to pay for it, and so it'll be interesting to see how they go once they're tradable and whether or not those do get traded. In terms of the difference between the guilds, so that really the difference comes in terms of two forms. So one is the number of members, and the second is in terms of the percentage cut that a guild leader gets from guild crafting before proceeds are distributed to everyone in the guild. And we can talk about that as well if you want.
Yeah, for sure. Because that was something that I thought was really, really cool of like, hey, if you own this guild, then you're also going to be getting something from everyone in that. But also on a similar question, as we're talking about this, I was kind of unsure because it seems like the guilds are so limited in terms of, the availability right now. Are you guys planning on selling more guilds down the line?
Yeah, we are. So in short, we don't plan to sell any of the founder guilds again. But we have identified quite quickly that once the game gets big, then we'll need more guilds, and we want everyone to be playing in a guild. That's a core part of the game. So we have flagged that there's a potential for us to either sell or give away more of the lowest tier guild or a different version of that.
For the guild and the mechanics and the crafting and everything, can you talk a little bit about what we can expect for that?
Yeah, so one of the key principles of the game is that we want players to be working with each other and engaging with each other. So it doesn't really make sense for us to have a game where you can get everything by yourself. The idea is that within Guild of Guardians, we have something called guild crafting, where you actually have to work with the rest of your guild in order to craft these kind of very rare NFT items in the game. And then you're kind of crafting these items, which then go for sale. And then when they get sold, the proceeds automatically get distributed to everyone based on their contribution.
I think that's awesome. It's really, really cool that you kind of like have identified, hey, for the guild owners, like you're not going to be able to like, so it sounds like if you own a guild, it's not going to be something where, you know, you can just sit there and, you know, create this like quote unquote passive income. You actually have to do work and make sure that, you know, the people that you invite, like, is there something where you have to recruit individuals, or is it something that people can just request to join, you accept it and let them do their thing?
Yeah, part of this comes to how we predict people behave, right? So it's someone can certainly buy a guild and own it, not do anything. But there's a question of whether or not people want to play with that person, right? I think that that's going to be a possibility where you potentially just own a guild but don't, you know, let other members manage it. But there's also going to be potential where, you know, you own a guild run it very well, create a very good experience for everyone who joins, and then you kind of get more active and better players in your guild as well. So I think these kind of dynamics will be quite interesting. We've tried to design it in a way where it overall creates a positive experience for everyone.
And for the gameplay itself, do you think that it's going to require kind of skill, or is it something where similar to something like RuneScape, if you happen to play, where it's kind of like click, and as long as you have, you know, relatively good items, you're fine in that sense?
So strategy is a big part of the game. So with a lot of these hero collector RPG games, strategy is a big part of it. It's kind of about how you build your team, where you choose to deploy your efforts, like the synergies between different items and heroes and so on, versus the specific kind of dungeon that you're fighting. So there is a lot of strategy elements within it.
For these founder sales that are coming up here, from my understanding, is the game is roughly going to come out in about a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, roughly it'll come out early 2022. We don't have an exact date yet. Hopefully it'll be earlier than a year. But, you know, as with these things, you never really know how long it'll take.
Regarding the founder sale, is it something that if people purchase that, then they're going to have to wait for it to really be activated until early 2022? Or is there going to be kind of any potential perks or incentives to, hold that all the way up until the release of the game?
After people buy the NFTs, we're going to make them tradable in Immutable X, which means that players can start collecting and trading them in a gas-free environment, which we think is a really good fit for gaming NFTs, which typically have kind of lower value assets where gas is be too expensive. In terms of whether they'll give utility prior to the game, we will want to do alpha, some testing of the game, some private testing of the game, but we haven't determined at this point how we will determine who joins that.
So what kind of games do you think would be a good kind of representation of what Guild of Guardians is going to be like in terms of whether it be the crafting mechanics or the, gameplay or the way that the dungeons and bosses work?
So the kind of the world of Guild of Guardians is very inspired by D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. In terms of how the gameplay works, there's actually a lot of different team-based RPGs. Ones where you have a team of 4 to 5 heroes, which you send into battle. In terms of the combat itself, it'll be an action RPG where you control one character at a time, and the other 3 characters on the field are controlled by AI. And so you're able to switch between other characters, similar to, I don't know, Genshin Impact or something.
And then I'm just kind of scrolling through the website here, and I'm noticing that you have pets and energy boosters for the founder sale as well as a heroes one. So can you talk just for a minute about what the advantages of picking up a hero or a pet versus a guild are in this instant?
So the heroes are very core to the game. You use them whenever you want to battle in dungeons, up to a team of 4. Again, as I mentioned before, that certain heroes may may have certain kind of specialties. And so often you'll see players wanting to have more than just 4 heroes because they'll need certain heroes in different situations. In terms of pets, what pets do is they increase your rewards from clearing dungeons effectively. So they might give you higher chance of getting an item. They might give you kind of more materials that go towards crafting, or they might give you other things as well.
If I want to do like a dungeon run with some friends and we want to take on a boss, how long is that experience going to be? Is it something, as short as 5 minutes? Is it something that's going to be, potentially longer, upwards of an hour? Or is that kind of still in the works?
I definitely think it's going to be on the short side. We want to make sure the game is accessible, playable on the go, and that if real life things happen, then you're not glued to your mobile screen.
For the Warriors Guild, it's 4,000 or with 3,200 US dollars with the early bird discount. For the Legends, it's 20,000 or 16,000 with the early bird discount. And then the Mythic, 100,000 or 80,000 with the early bird discount. And then serial numbers here. Serial numbers are not assigned upon purchase, will be randomly assigned upon minting. Earlier buyers will have slightly higher probability of getting a lower serial number. So for the serial numbers and whatnot, is that something that you think that people are going to really, really value in a sense?
I think it'll probably matter more for things which are very, very high supply. So for Mythic Guilds, there's only 10 serial numbers anyway. For Legendary Heroes, there's going to be a lot of them, and so the loss will be even more rare relatively.
So for these different heroes and whatnot, or I guess guardians, if you will, how many different kind of iterations do you think there is going to be of heroes? Or is it going to be something like, let's just say like Overwatch, how you have, your typical, Reinhardt, you have your Mercy, et cetera, et cetera?
It's more like Overwatch, exactly, where you have heroes kind of do the same thing, and they have a very distinct playstyle and personality.
Okay, and then also, when you're looking at collection, I'm just showing you guys here on screen, just in case you haven't checked out the website yet. When you bring it down here, you have the Heroes tab, Pets, Other, you have the different rarities of Common, Rare, Epic, Legendary, Faction of Empire, Glade, and Horde. Derek, these factions, good sir, what can you tell us about Empire, Glade, and Horde?
Kind of Empires typically you have mostly humans. In Empire, in Glade, you have like elves, but also potentially other kind of mythical creatures associated with kind of the woodlands. And then in Horde, you have kind of all your traditionally, you have what you would see in World of Warcraft, like orcs, demons, and then other things as well.
Is there going to be a thing where, like, if your entire, hero pool is all Empire, they're going to get, like, a bonus? Or if, let's just say, like, Empire and Glade are, friendly or whatever, there's, like, a perk that way? Or are they just kind of to signify different factions?
One idea we have right now is that if you have an entire set of Empire, you get a certain buff. If you have an entire set of Horde, you get another buff, and so on. We want to create something where people are encouraged to trade with each other and to specialize, or like a real world economy almost.
Just the game as a whole, for you, where do you kind of see the roadmap going with this? Do you guys see with the planning and everything that you're like, yeah, I really foresee that early 2022 start? Do you think that there's kind of any kind of big roadblocks you guys are looking at, or everything's pretty much on schedule for then?
Everything's on schedule right now, but that's not to say that this isn't an extremely difficult project. So, that's why we're trying to work with the best people and companies in the space to make it happen. We have pretty big ambitions. It's not easy at all to pull off, but we are very committed to seeing it through. Especially since we've got so many supporters now as well who want to see this be successful.
Derek, I think we can wrap this up for right now. I really want to thank you for taking the time to talk about this. And if you guys have any big roadmap updates or anything, I would love to come and chat with you again to learn a little bit more about Guild of Guardians.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it was a good chat. Good to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. All right. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. All right. So that's Derek. Yo, okay. That was cool. I learned so much. Listen, I'm debating. Okay. After that, I'm kind of debating. You know what I mean? Once you talk with the people and you understand the vision a little bit more, you see the motivation behind it, the things that they've had, success with, saying that he was doing, Gods Unchained everything. Like, sheesh. Okay, I'm listening. I'm intrigued.